I did a video a little while back saying that the AirPods are important. Well, here are the follow-up, and to be honest, the AirPods Pro are important too. But one thing is important to note. Apple has much more competition now and is not as far ahead of the game as they were with the originals. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Here's my review of the AirPods Pro.
Before we get into it, a big thanks to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. I didn't know what to expect when they had me try their popular free-to-play warship game, but by now I've poured hours of time into their action-packed game. There's a ton of combat to experience, but also this game is incredibly strategic. With over 200 ships available to unlock and play with, you have to consider the abilities and strengths of cruisers, battleships, destroyers, and more, all faithfully recreated to the real-life ships from 11 different nations. Pick your ship and then join a massive naval fleet trying to do things like take out the enemy ships or capture key points on the ocean map. New content is always on its way though. New missions, game updates, and now submarines. Gameplay in a submarine will be very different and centered around new mechanics, and this new class of vessel will also have the best concealment rating despite having the least amount of hit points. Subs will be rolling out as a special game mode as we end 2019 and become fully integrated in early 2020, bringing a completely different form of World of Warships gameplay. Click the link below and play World of Warships and collect an exclusive bonus starter pack. New players can register with the code BATTLESTATIONS2020 to receive 250 doubloons, 1 million credits, the USS Charleston, which I've already been using in my gameplay, 3 days of premium time, 1 port slot, and more. Get to those links in the description to hit the open seas. Thank you again to World of Warships for sponsoring this video.
Alright, so what exactly makes these Pro? It all starts with the design. The case is bigger this time, but that's because the units are a bit bigger too. Thankfully, this all translates to better sound across the board, which I'll get to a little later. Everything is still glossy white everything, which is just Apple's calling card with these products and audio products in particular, I guess. One feature that the AirPods started, which I particularly enjoy in any truly wireless earbud, is the way that you connect through the case. There's this little button on the back, and if you hold that button, you are able to trigger a pairing mode that is indicated by a pulsating LED on the front. Apple achieved this method with both this and the original AirPods due to a specific chip, but other products have found a way of doing it as well. Of course, if you're an iPhone user, you have the easiest time. You just open up the case near your iPhone and it will eventually detect it and show you a nice little graphic. Of course, one thing that is really awesome about the AirPods and now the AirPods Pro is that it doesn't take that long to charge them when you put them back in the case. The earbuds themselves will provide between 4 and 5 hours of playback time, and the case provides 5 to 6 more charges, so you get about 24 hours, a whole day's worth of playback time. Alright, so let's get back to the actual buds. These actually get all up in the ear now and create a seal that is far better and more comfortable than the originals. The silicone tip is interesting though. It snaps into place instead of sliding over the drivers of other typical in-ear buds. This proprietary design is a little bit odd, but I'm sure that there are already some third parties out there creating their own silicone tip so you can get a little bit more customization. What is significant here is that you can actually customize the feel and, in some way, the sound of the AirPods Pro compared to the originals. The larger units fit a bit more snugly in the ear, but there's still no wingtips that keep them stuck in the ear during situations like workouts. Thankfully, they don't just fall out like the originals. And speaking of the gym, the AirPods Pro are sweat resistant. At this point, you find a little bit of Apple's user-friendly software design with the ear tip fit test. Found in the Bluetooth settings, this test checks if the tips you picked actually provide the kind of seal that will give you the best possible sound. Like you'll notice with many other parts of the AirPods Pro experience, Apple is just trying to make this experience as hands-off as possible. People who hate the long stem of the AirPods will not be rid of them completely, but it's much more dialed back than before, thank God. It is still obvious to everyone that you're wearing the AirPods Pro, but this time, control over the media is different, as the stems serve more of a purpose now. Instead of just tap controls on the main units, you can actually squeeze the stems to get a number of functions done. I personally like this change because while taps might have happened on the original AirPods from time to time without you realizing it, squeezing the stem is something that you have to voluntarily do. I do wish that there was some sort of volume control on here, but then again, just reach for the phone and try to change it that way, or use maybe a wearable that you have instead. All right, here we go. I just mentioned sound modes, so let's talk about noise cancellation. The AirPods Pro bring a convenient and easily understandable version of ANC. There's already a little bit of sound cancellation with these just by virtue of them going into your ear and creating a seal, but then the ANC will kick in when you turn it on, and it will allow for the mics to analyze the environment around you and filter in frequencies that actually cancel out what you perceive as noise. Obviously, none of this is particularly new. After all, we have been enjoying active noise cancellation from things like big headphones and forms of it in other truly wireless earbuds. But one thing Apple did with their AirPods Pro is currently one of a kind: actual airflow. There's actually like a tiny vent in the inner portion of the AirPods Pro that make it so that one's ears don't feel completely pressurized by the seal. It actually helps the earbuds feel a bit more comfortable, and I'm surprised more people aren't making a bigger deal about it. Active noise cancellation often has the sensation of air being sucked out of your ears, which can be a little uncomfortable to people new to the technology. But with the AirPods Pro, you can get some good noise cancellation without that feeling, making them one of, if not the easiest ANC products out there. And honestly, the noise cancellation is pretty good. It is enough to cut out much of the noise in a plane, a scenario where airflow features are even more appreciated. I don't have any more sudden or painful spikes in air pressure because of what's in my ears. You can change the sound mode from full noise cancellation to an ambient sound mode where the mics pass the real world through, so you can actually talk to the people around you easily. The pass-through is actually really good because if you're really addicted to your media, you don't actually have to be taking out the AirPods Pro all the time. Just leave them in, turn on the mode, and then you can talk to people, and when you're done, just go back to active noise cancellation and get immersed back into your media. But like with any audio product, you want to get these for good sound. And thankfully, especially for people who had the original AirPods, these deliver. Are they the best sounding earbuds? No, not by a long shot, but everything is really balanced here and most average users will just enjoy them. The highs never pierce your ears, which is a good thing, but I found myself wishing that there was more separation between them and the mids, especially when listening to things like EDM. The bass is well represented, but it doesn't do enough justice for like hip-hop songs, for example. The great mids mean that spoken word content or podcasts are especially enjoyable. Now, even though there could be more separation in them, I do think that the AirPods Pro have a slightly wider soundstage than most other truly wireless earbuds I've used. You can actually sense a little bit of separation between things, especially from the bass and everything else. Now, you don't get a whole lot of control over the sound, and that's a bit of a bummer. Many other wireless audio products give you full EQs and sound customization, but again, that's not really the point here. Apple just likes keeping things simple and clean for most of their users. And a part of me likes that and appreciates it, but another part of me really wishes I had more control. And also, call quality is still pretty good on here, which is probably not much of a surprise, considering that the original AirPods were considered good for calls in particular. So every feature is good, maybe not the best, but they're good. But here's the reason why I think that the AirPods Pro are still important. Imagine all of the people who had the original AirPods, and just by virtue of being Apple fans, they're upgrading to the Pros. Apple just introduced active noise cancellation in the easiest fashion to a lot of people who have never experienced it before. Other audio manufacturers with better sound, better ANC, even better features overall, tend to struggle with that kind of proliferation. But if you're willing to shell out $249 for what might be considered the Pro versions of the AirPods, well, you might get good ANC that you'll end up appreciating a lot, and you also get pretty comfortable earbuds that provide a good sound and are super compatible with the iPhones of the world. Don't get me wrong though, I have used these with other devices, even in editing videos on my PC, in my laptop. So these are actually really good, just general Bluetooth earbuds, and you don't lose a whole lot in translation when using these without an iPhone paired to them. It's Apple's weird way of extending an olive branch to all other platforms, and it's done through something that I think we can all agree upon, and that is the search for good audio. So yeah, that'll about do it for my review of the AirPods Pro. Once again, I am looking to do more audio products on my channel, especially since there's so much wireless audio coming out. And yes, the AirPods were an original look at what that could be. There's so many truly wireless earbuds out there, so make sure you get into the description down below. I have a couple of other audio reviews available now, so look forward to even more here on my channel. Drop some likes on this video and get into the comment sections down below. Let me know if you're into the AirPods Pro, if you have them, what your experience has been, and then consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already so you can keep up with everything that I'm doing here, audio or otherwise. From there, I'm gonna go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll just remind you to enjoy your audio and your tea, everybody.